She's a choreographer, and everybody knows her work. She did Cats. Gillian Lynne. Anyway, Jill and I had lunch one day. I said, how'd you get to be a dancer? And she said it was interesting. When she was at school, she was really hopeless. And the school in the 30s wrote to her parents and said, we think Gillian has a learning disorder. She couldn't concentrate. She was fidgeting. I think now they'd say she had ADHD. But this was the 1930s, and ADHD hadn't been invented, at this point. So it wasn't an available condition. People weren't aware they could have that. Anyway, she went to see this specialist. So this oak-paneled room, and she was there with her mother, and she was led and sat on this chair at the end, and she sat on her hands for 20 minutes while this man talked to her mother about all the problems Gillian was having at school. And at the end of it, because she was disturbing people, her homework was always late and so on, little kid of 8, in the end, the doctor went and sat next to Gillian and said, Gillian, I've listened to all these things that your mother's told me. I need to speak to her privately. So he said, wait here, we'll be back. We won't be very long. And they went and left her. But as they went out the room, he turned on the radio that was sitting on his desk. And when they got out the room, he said to her mother, just stand and watch her. And the minute they left the room, she said she was on her feet, moving to the music. And they watched for a few minutes, and he turned to her mother, and he said, Mrs. Lynne, Gillian isn't sick. She's a dancer. Take her to a dance school. I said, what happened? He said, she did. I can't tell you how wonderful it was. We walked in this room, and it was full of people like me. People who couldn't sit still. People who had to move to think. Who had to move to think. She's been responsible for some of the most successful musical theatre productions in history. She's given pleasure to millions, and she's a multi-millionaire. Somebody else might have put her on medication and told her to calm down.
And that's why Element exists. That's why Element is so important. There are many students like Gillian Lynne. They feel bored, bullied, and broken because they don't seem to fit their schools. But the truth is, it's the schools that don't fit them. We seek to help kids find their element, just as Gillian Lynne did, so they too can thrive.
My name is Cody, and I have Asperger's. So I don't want to make it sound like, oh my gosh, everyone should have Asperger's. But generally everyone who has heard of it knows that it comes with some social awkwardness, but it also comes with curiosity. When someone like me is free to pursue what they want to pursue outside of the constraints of a classroom, there's really no limit. In my own education, Asperger's was never really a big part of it. I always just learned to my strengths. I learned what I wanted and needed to learn. My weaknesses never really played a part. And so, I want to pay it forward as a program director at Element, helping other people like me learn to their strengths without having their weaknesses get in the way. Without having that genius be squandered.
And we believe that every student at Element is a genius. Whether it's music, art, science, engineering, or languages, at Element, students are free to pursue their own genius. And when students are allowed to focus on and use their strengths, lives change.
I like the freedom that you can study what you want.
But then the learning style is really cool too, because you can learn at your own pace. You can learn most whatever you want. There's a lot of stuff that's awesome about it.
Before I came to Element, I had to choose between my passions and my academic studies that I know I needed to do in order to get to where I wanted to be in the future. But when I came to Element, I could do both, and I really enjoy it. I have a part-time job, and I work with horses, and Before, I found it really hard to get everything done, especially when I wasn't very good in math and other subjects, and it just didn't appeal to me as it would to some people who are proficient in those. I came to Element, and now I can do everything, and I love my school just as much as I love my work.
I like Element because you can work at your own pace, you can do the work that you want to do, but yet you're working on your own, yet you still have help if you need it.
If a class isn't working, I can change it up and do research for myself on what works for me, and in that I'm teaching myself how to learn, and if I can teach myself how to learn, then I'm always going to be in demand.
What else have you discovered about yourself from Element? Things that you like that you never knew you liked?
Learning? Is that a cop-out?
That you like learning? You didn't realize you liked learning before?
I guess I had bad experiences with it. But as I said, I do it for fun now. So.
Yes, it's true. Learning can be fun. In their Element, students learn because it's fun, because they're interested, and because it's meaningful to them. It's no longer about simply passing a test or getting a good grade. It's about pursuing dreams and reaching goals. Those that came to us feeling bored, bullied, or even broken now have passion, joy, and confidence. They've found their element, and in their element, students thrive.